Dragon Emperor Sun Chapter 471 to Chapter 480. Of course, if the Yin family can let the Jade Pendant be activated, how can we let the Yin family destroy the family? Bai Ziashan said coldly. How is this good? Bai Zhan sighed. Everyone fell into contemplation. If David was really a cultivator, what would they use to fight against David? Zhan Tang, you are going to the Jiangbei provincial capital right now, and send him all the medicinal materials of the Yaoangfu, and tell him that our Bai family is willing to pay tribute to the medicinal materials for a long time to help him cultivate. You will remember it for me, and your attitude will be certain. Be humble, if you dare to annoy him, don't blame me for being rude. Bai Ziashan finally made up his mind. If David is really a cultivator, then the Bai family must seize this opportunity. If there is a cultivator behind the Bai family, then in the entire capital, which family would dare to fight with the Bai family? Got it, Grandpa. Bai Zhantang is not stupid, on the contrary, this Bai Zhantang is extremely thoughtful, otherwise at the Jiangbei martial arts gathering, it is his Bai family who will be killed and injured. Bai Zhantang rushed to Jiangbei non-stop, and at the same time in the Qin family in Kyoto, Qin Feng was smashing things like crazy. Master, the master is in retreat. Without his orders, none of the four kings of the Qin family have the right to mobilize. The old butler followed Qin Feng helplessly. So many people in our Qin family were killed, and I was trampled underfoot and humiliated. Is this the case? Today I have to take the four great kings away, and then my dad will blame him and ask him to find me directly. Qin Feng said, and was about to rush to a courtyard closed by an iron gate, but was stopped by the old housekeeper. Master, you are releasing the four great kings now. If they are insane, then the Qin family will be doomed. Now only the master can control their minds. The old butler begged bitterly. Get out of the way, I have long since brought reassurance pills from my dad's room, as long as I eat it for the four great Vajra, I will be fine. Qin Feng kicked the old butler and was about to open the iron gate. UBA5TARD, your dad is in retreat, so no one can control you. This was a loud shout, which scared Qin Feng to stop immediately. Looking back, I saw a middle-aged man with a face full of flesh glaring at Qin Feng. Uncle 3. When Qin Feng saw the person coming, he suddenly became honest. Qin Feng's third uncle stepped forward and snatched the reassurance pill from Qin Feng's hand. Can you control these four great diamonds at will? I think you are courting death. Third uncle, I really can't take this breath. In Jiangbei, the people I brought with me were killed not to mention, and they were trampled under their feet and humiliated in public. It was the Gu family who hired people to do it. I think the Gu family wanted to take revenge on us, and the jade pendant of the Yin family is also in the hands of the boy named David. At this time, Qin Feng not only didn't feel that Gu Linger had saved her life, but he even slammed it down, all relying on the Gu family. Humph, Gu Wenchen has retired, and his family is in the middle of the road. How dare you seek revenge for my Qin family? I really don't know whether to live or die. Qin Feng's third uncle snorted coldly, and then said to Qin Feng, that jade pendant is not even wanted by the Bai family. Is it? Is the Bai family not moving? There was a F.art move. Bai Zhantang was at the scene at the time, and he was so frightened that he didn't dare to do it. Qin Feng's teeth itched with hatred when he mentioned Bai Zhantang. At that time, he proposed to follow Bai Zhantang to deal with David, but he didn't expect this kid to be cowardly and sold him directly. This coward of the Bai family has no backbone at all. Uncle Qin Feng also scolded him angrily, and then said to Qin Feng, your dad is in seclusion now, don't make trouble for him, return the key to the old housekeeper, I will let the wild wolf take you to Jiangbei again. When Qin Feng heard this, a look of joy flashed in his eyes. Third uncle, did you really lend me Uncle Wolf? Of course it's true. I can still lie to you. When has our Qin family been bullied like this? Uncle Qin Feng said with a faint smile. Ha ha ha, That's great. If Uncle Wolf goes, he will definitely kill that kid. Then I will ravage Gulinger well. Qin Feng laughed wildly. Jiangbei provincial capital. David and Sonia are back. However, David is not in a hurry to go to Hungshan. He has to finish the affairs of the Yaoang mansion first, and then go to Hungshan. Lin Tianhe did not practice day and night every day. After eating the great Huan Dan given by David, Lin Tianhe could feel that his strength was improving by leaps and bounds. It's been 3 days, and the Yaoang mansion hasn't moved yet. It seems that it's time to take a trip. David muttered to himself. At this moment, Chi Feng walked over quickly. Mr. Chen, Yaoang's mansion has sent someone, saying that he is asking Mr. Chen to visit Yaoang's mansion. As soon as David heard it, he immediately laughed. I just wanted to go, they sent someone to invite, then go and see. Mr. Chen, do you want me to bring more people? Chi Feng asked in a low voice. It's time to bring more people, so many medicinal materials, there is no way to bring them back if there are fewer people. David said with a smile. Soon, Chi Feng drove David and went straight to the Yaoang mansion, followed by a few trucks, ready to pull the medicinal materials. Mr. Chen, are you sure that the medicine palace will hand over the medicinal materials? On the way, Chi Feng asked in confusion. Whether he pays it or not, I have to get the medicinal materials. If they don't pay it, I will kill them all. Those medicinal materials are not the same as mine. David leaned on the backrest and sneered. Chi Feng wasn't talking, David was right, just kill them all. In this society where the weak eat the strong, the weak have no say. Soon, David and the others arrived at the Yaoang mansion, but the scene was not as tense as they thought. They saw Bai Zhantang with Sun Simiao and the others, waiting for David at the door. When the car arrived, Bai Zhantang stepped forward and opened the door for David himself. Mr. Chen. Bai Zhantang respectfully followed David and shouted. This made David somewhat surprised, but he didn't show it. After getting out of the car, he was invited to the hall of the King of Medicine. Bai Zhantang invited David to the master's seat, and he sat next to David. As for Sun Simiao and the others, they only had to stand by the side. Let's be straight, I don't like to beat around the bush. David is a little strange, what medicine is sold in this Bai Zhantang gourd? If the Bai family compromised and became so respectful just because he killed several grandmasters, David himself would not believe it. With the strength of the Bai family, it was impossible to compromise like this. Mr. Chen, I went back to the Bai family to discuss it. Grandpa said that Mr. Chen is a genius. Only when the medicinal materials are in Mr. Chen's hands can they exert the greatest effect. Therefore, we are willing to dedicate all the medicinal materials of the Yaoang mansion to Mr. Chen, and in the future, the medicinal materials will be given to Mr. Chen. The palace will continue to provide Mr. Chen with medicinal materials. Bai Zhantang said. David listened, his brows slightly wrinkled, his eyes stared at Bai Zhantang. David couldn't see through this Bai Zhantang, and this Bai family. David thought that the Bai family could give him all the medicinal materials of Yaoangfu, even if it's the most ideal result. I didn't expect that the other party would even propose to supply him with medicinal materials in the future. Isn't this what he wants? However, David is not particularly optimistic. He knows that the Bai family cannot make a loss-making business. There must be other attempts or conditions in it. Tell me, what are the conditions of your Bai family? I don't believe your Bai family is so kind. David asked. Mr. Chen, my grandfather said that I hope that the Bai family can stay together with Mr. Chen in the future. If there is any order from Mr. Chen, I, the Bai family, will do my best. Bai Zhantang stood up and bowed to David. David became more and more confused, his eyes stared at Bai Zhantang, and his brows were slightly wrinkled. Do you know something? I want to hear the truth. Bai Zhantang nodded, then looked at Sun Simiao and said, You all go out, no one is allowed to come in without my order. Sun Simiao nodded, and immediately took someone out, and David also looked at Chi Feng. You go out too. Chi Feng also walked out. When only David and Bai Zhantang were left in the hall, Bai Zhantang bowed and said respectfully, my grandfather said that Mr. Chen is a cultivator and should be respected by others. He also hopes that Mr. Chen can protect my Bai family. Prosperity for all generations. When David heard this, he was immediately surprised. This Bai Zhantang's grandfather was the first person to see his identity. No one had ever said that he was an immortal cultivator. And David himself has never met a cultivator during this period of time. They are all warriors and warlocks. David has some doubts. In this world, he and Irvin are the only cultivators. Could it be that your grandfather is also an immortal cultivator? Or has he seen an immortal cultivator? David asked excitedly. If he can see a monk, then David will not feel lonely anymore. He can find someone to talk to, and find common topics. Moreover, David knows little about many things about cultivating immortals. He really wants to ask someone. Bai Zhantang shook his head, my grandfather is not a cultivator, but he did see. Soon, Bai Zhantang told David what Bai Zihuzan had told him. David was discouraged after hearing it. He saw it decades ago, and now where can he find it? It seems that if he wants to know more, he will have to wait until July 15th to go to an uninhabited island, and he does not know what the big opportunity that the Irvin is talking about. There is also his own biological mother. David always feels that his biological mother is not dead, but still alive, but just locked up somewhere. David himself doesn't know why he feels this way, he can't tell. Your grandfather guessed right, I am indeed a cultivator. David did not hide it from Bai Zhantang. Since the Bai family treats each other sincerely, David does not intend to hide it from them. Whether it is sincere or not, at this time both parties are it is mutual benefit. With the improvement of strength, David needs more and more medicinal materials. Hearing that David agreed, Bai Zhantang's eyes lit up, his eyes were full of envy and surprise, and he followed David with some stammer, Mr. Chen, can you tell me how immortal cultivators practice? Bai Zhantang is very curious, after all, this is the first time he has heard of immortal cultivators. You warriors practice the exercises, and you have practiced internal energy. You rely on constant training to generate energy in your danshan. What I need in my practice is spiritual energy, which is converted into spiritual energy and stored in my danshan, just like those warlocks. They also need spiritual energy, but the amount they need is very small, and more is just using the formation method. David followed Bai Zhantang to explain. Oh, I see. Mr. Chen wants these medicinal materials. Do these medicinal materials have spiritual energy in them and can help Mr. Chen practice? Bai Zhantang suddenly realized. David nodded, yes, but only medicinal materials that are more than 100 years old can produce aura. Now there are too few auras in the world, and I can only use the aura from other objects to cultivate. Mr. Chen, if you cultivators have reached the end of your cultivation, are you still immortals? Can you fly to the sky, and can you live forever? Bai Zhantang is like a primary school student asking for knowledge, constantly asking curiously. David smiled and shook his head, actually, I don't know much about it. I don't even know where the end of immortality is. Bai Zhantang suddenly felt that he had asked too many questions, and was a little rude, and hurriedly apologized, Mr. Chen, I'm just too curious and a little presumptuous, I'm so sorry. David smiled lightly, it's okay. After the two chatted for a while, Bai Zhantang shouted, come in. Sun Simiao brought people in. Sun Simiao, let me tell you, in the future, the entire Yaoang mansion will obey Mr. Chen's orders. No matter what medicinal materials you want, you must first let Mr. Chen choose. If anyone dares to refuse, kill. Bai Zhantang said to Sun Simiao with a cold face. Understood, second young master. Sun Simiao nodded. Go and load the medicinal materials to Mr. Chen. Bai Zhantang said. Sun Simiao hurriedly said to the housekeeper, Old Chu, go and arrange for someone to load the car, and load all the medicinal materials. After the order was completed, Sun Simiao looked at Bai Zhantang, then at David, and opened his mouth to stop talking. Palace Master Sun, just say what you have to say. David said to Sun Simiao. Mr. Chen asks you, just say it directly, what is it like to be hesitant? Bai Zhantang reprimanded Sun Simiao. Yes yes yes. Sun Simiao nodded again and then said to Bai Zhantang and David, second young master, Mr. Chen, the four elders of Suanya Valley came to Tianfeng town a few days ago, and stayed near the ring for a while. Just leave. Damn, these guys must have come to trouble Mr. Chen. I'll go home and mobilize some experts to destroy Suanya Valley. Bai Zhantang said sharply. At this time, he has to fully show his loyalty and respect to David. David is in trouble, and their Bai family should take action. No, after a few days, I will personally destroy this Suanya Valley. David waved his hand, and then continued to say to Bai Zhantang, I may have something to go out these days, you take care of my family, and when I return, accompany me to destroy that Suanya Valley. After all, Bai Zhantang is stronger than Chifeng. David plans to go to Hungshan for a few days. It is safer to leave the safety of Sonia and Gulinger to Bai Zhantang. Now David is worried that Qinfeng will take revenge. Gulinger shouldn't be soft-hearted and let the tiger go back to the mountain. Mr. Chen, don't worry, as long as I have Bai Zhantang's breath, I will never let anyone hurt Mr. Chen's family. Bai Zhantang said confidently. After returning from Yaoang Mansion, David contacted Wu Dong. Wu Dong was accepting Hungshan rough stones in Hungshan. After receiving a call from David, he knew that David was back, and Wu Dong rushed back to the provincial capital directly from Hungshan. David used this period of time to refine some big repayment pills for Lin Tianhu, and he also refined the Juling Dan, but after eating a few Juling pills, David's strength did not increase much. With the improvement of realm, David's demand for spiritual energy has also increased exponentially. Early the next morning, Wu Dong rushed back, and took David to Hungshan again. Hungshan Mountain is not particularly far from Jiangbei, only a few hundred kilometers, but the entire Hungshan mountain range stretches for thousands of miles, spanning several provinces and cities. At the foot of Mount Hung, there is a small town called Shancheng. Originally, people here were sparsely populated, resources were scarce, and people's lives were very difficult. However, in recent years, with the popularity of Hungshan rough stone, and the price has become more and more expensive, the more and more people who come here to mine Hungshan rough stone. More and more, the mountain city has become prosperous. Chapter 475. Now the entire mountain city has several times more foreign population than the native population, and the mountain is full of large and small mines. The most popular entertainment venues in the mountain city are hotels, bars, and KTVs. Those who can afford the original stones are big bosses, so they are not afraid to spend money. Wu Dong went straight to eat and stopped at the entrance of a restaurant. Mr. Chen, you must be hungry too, let's eat some food first, and then go back to the hotel to rest. David nodded and got out of the car with Wu Dong. The restaurant is not very big, but the facade is very well decorated and has an antique flavor. There is a big sign on it that says Shandong Restaurant. Mr. Chen, don't think that this restaurant is not big, but it is the most popular restaurant here. Many people come to eat here. The big star Song Tai, as long as he returns to the mountain city, he will go to this restaurant to eat. Wu Dong and David introduced while walking. Entering the hotel, Wu Dong wanted to find a private room, but David stopped it. It was just the two of them, just eat whatever they wanted, no need to look for a private room. Looking for a more secluded place, Wudong specially ordered a few restaurant specialties. While waiting for the dishes, David deliberately glanced at the people eating at the restaurant, and found that there were actually several masters at the master level. It would not be surprising to see so many masters during the martial arts gathering in Tianfeng town, but how could there be so many masters in this mountain city? It's strange to say that even if I was busy before, I never saw so many people. During the few days I came to the mountain city, I saw several groups of strangers going up the mountain one after another. Too much. Seeing that David glanced at the people in the hotel, Wudong hurriedly explained. However, when David looked at these people, they didn't look like people who gambled stones. I saw that these people were all in groups of 3 or 5. Is the rough stone of Mount Hung mined casually? David asked Wudong. That's not it. If you mine casually, it will be a mess. No one cares about it before, but now the entire area, the largest rough rock mining cave, has been occupied by the 3 families of Feng, Song, Lu, and others. Some of the small mines that the 3 companies despised were exploited by others, and Mr. Feng, who was at a disadvantage to Mr. Pei at that time, was one of them, and his mine was in the southeast, closest to the top of the mountain. Through the window, Wudong pointed to Hung Shan, who was close at hand. Oh! David nodded. Soon, the dishes came, and David suddenly stopped the waiter who was serving the dishes and said, "Dude, can I ask if something major happened in Shancheng? Why do I feel that many people are in a hurry?" David always felt that something was wrong. With so many master-level masters appearing, there should be something happening or about to happen here. What's the matter? I'm just a waiter, I don't know. The waiter shook his head, but his eyes were dodging, obviously he knew something. Dude, we are from out of town, just ask casually, no malice. David said, took out a stack of banknotes and stuffed it into the waiter's pocket. The stack of banknotes was several $1,000s. The waiter looked around, hesitated for a moment, and then said in a low voice, "I tell you, Hung Shan has discovered another mineral vein, and said that it is full of gems. Now the 3 families of the Song family, the Feng family, and the Lu family are all I'm recruiting for horses. It looks like I'm going to compete for the new mines that I discovered. I'm afraid that the mountain city will soon be in chaos. I also heard it in a private room by accident. Don't say that I said it." After the waiter finished speaking, he left in a hurry. New mine. Wudong was taken aback. I've been here for several days, why haven't I heard of it? David smiled slightly, this kind of thing, the 3 major families will definitely not make a statement, so as not to provoke more people to fight for it. David now knows why so many masters suddenly appeared in Shancheng. It must have something to do with recruiting troops from the 3 major families. To know that a martial artist reaches the master level, it is very difficult to advance every step, unless you have the support of the family industry. You can spend a lot of money to buy some spiritual medicines, medicinal materials, and other auxiliary exercises, otherwise it will be difficult to break through. Therefore, many martial artists have no choice but to earn money to practice their skills by giving family care and nursing homes. The safety of the industry has formed a cooperative relationship, and everyone needs what they need. Now that these masters have come to the mountain city, it seems that the chips given by the 3 major families must be particularly attractive. Just when David and the others were eating, there was a sudden commotion. The 2 looked up and found a girl in a cheongsam with big sunglasses, covering most of her face, only the pointed chin and the small cherry mouth came out. Behind the girl were 4 bodyguards in suits, all with serious expressions, looking around as soon as they entered the door, as if they were facing a great enemy. Damn it, isn't this the big star Song Tai? Wudong's eyes widened suddenly, and the slap in his mouth was about to flow out. David looked at the girl, and his expression was in a trance for a while. The girl's body proportions were too good, especially when she was wearing a cheongsam, it showed her small waist to the fullest. A pair of snow-white feet stepped on high heels, just like it's the same as coming out of the painting, but the name is a little flattering. "Waiter, find a box," said a bodyguard behind the girl. "I'm sorry, the rooms are slow now, only the lobby is left," the waiter said helplessly. "Go find a way." The bodyguard's face turned cold, and he gave the waiter a fierce look. The waiter was horrified and stammered, "Really, there really isn't any more." "Okay, let's go in the lobby." After the girl finished speaking, she found a seat and sat down. "Miss, the master has explained that I won't let you." "Shut up, I'll go back after dinner." The girl seemed impatient, and the bodyguard didn't dare to speak up. Soon, the girl's food was served, and regardless of the hot eyes of the people around, the girl devoured it directly, and it was obvious that she really liked the food here. The 4 bodyguards behind her surrounded the girl, and everyone put their hands into their pockets, apparently with weapons hidden inside. It seems that the strength of the Song family is not small. David muttered to himself. These bodyguards all have guns hidden in their pockets. You must know that these are prohibited items. In this country, you can practice the exercises as you like, and no one will care about you. But when you have a hot weapon, the nature will change, and you must knowing that it is harder to get a gun now than to go to the sky. However, hot weapons like pistols are fine for ordinary warriors. If you really encounter a master-level master, the pistol will become useless. If you encounter David, the pistol will be no different from scrap metal. Song Zud, the patriarch of the Song family, used to be a famous entertainment company boss, with countless celebrity artists and too much money to count, but later he was investigated because some of his artists were rapists, which also affected the company, and was catching up with that. Hung Shan stone has been hot for a few years, and this Song Zud went back to his hometown to open a mine, but his daughter is now a big star, and she is very famous. Wu Dong explained. David watched Song Tai while he was eating, but Song Tai seemed to be in a no-man's land. "Mr. Chen, if you like this woman, I will find a way to contact her agent. As long as you are willing to spend money these days, such a so-called big star is not the same as the escort girl." Seeing that David always looked at Song Tai, Wu Dong whispered. "Shut up and eat." David glared at Wu Dong. Soon, Song Tai finished eating and walked out of the restaurant with his bodyguards. David and the others just finished eating and went out. "I saw Song Tai got into a Bentley." After the bodyguard looked around, he hurriedly got in the car and drove away. David and the others also got in the car, started the car and left. Wu Dong drove the car and followed behind the Bentley, which made David a little strange. He asked Wu Dong, "What are you doing? Why are you following others?" "Mr. Chen, you misunderstood, I'm not following her, the hotel I booked is right in front," Wu Dong hurriedly explained. When David heard this, he leaned on the seat and closed his eyes slightly to recharge his energy. Boom! There was a sudden loud noise, and then David and their car stopped quickly, and David also suddenly opened his eyes. "What's going on?" David asked in surprise. "Mr. Chen, look quickly." Wu Dong was so scared that his face changed, and he pointed to the front. David looked and found that Song Tai's Bentley had been hit by a black unlicensed car and hit the roadside, and then a few people with machetes got off the black car. In the Bentley, Song Tai and several bodyguards were hit and dazed. Seeing someone rushed over with a machete, one of the bodyguards kicked the car door hard and took out the gun. But just after raising the gun, a white light flashed, and the bodyguard's gun-carrying hand was chopped off, and a shrill roar came from the bodyguard's mouth. But just shouting, the machete pierced the bodyguard's abdomen, and there was no sound in an instant. These guys with machetes moved very quickly. Although Song Tai's bodyguards had guns, the pistols couldn't exert any power in such close-range combat. In just a few dozen seconds, all 4 bodyguards died tragically, and Song Tai was also pulled out of the car. "Who are you? Let go of me!" Song Tai struggled hard, but it was useless at all. A guy took out a white towel to block Song Tai's mouth and nose, and soon Song Tai lost consciousness. These people stuffed Song Tai into the car, and when they were about to start the car, David got out of the car, in broad daylight, just rob people, do you still have Wang Fa in your eyes? The few guys were stunned for a moment, and when they saw David and Wudong, they suddenly showed fierce eyes. One of them pointed at David with a machete and said, "It's none of your business, boy, get away from me. This is a good time for heroes to save beauty, why don't you care about me?" David sneered and walked forward. When several guys saw this, they slashed at David with their knives. At first glance, it was a habitual criminal who murdered without blinking an eye. David took it easy and went up to meet him directly. Wudong saw this and was in a hurry. He couldn't do anything. He didn't know any martial arts. But he saw the pistol that fell on the ground. Although he didn't know martial arts, he could shoot. Wudong rushed up and picked up the gun, but when he raised the pistol and was about to shoot at several guys, he found that there was already no one left, and they all fell to the ground. Everyone's neck there is a deep blood stain. David opened the car door and took Song Tai out as if nothing happened. Carrying Song Tai back to the car, David looked at Wudong, who was still dumbfounded, and said, "Don't drive yet." "Oh." Wudong hurriedly put the pistol in his pocket and got in the car. "Throw the gun, if someone wants to kill you, the gun in your hand will not save your life, it will make you die faster." David saw that Wudong put the gun in his pocket, so he said to Wudong. Wudong could only throw the gun out and drive back to the hotel. David carried Song Tai into the room and put him on the bed. Wudong couldn't help but glance at Song Tai, who was lying on the bed a few more times. His fair calves were exposed, he was hooked. "Mr. Chen, you can play first, I'm going out." Wudong knows that David is here, where does he have his share? "What am I playing?" David was taken aback and looked at Wudong. You save her, don't you just want to?" Wudong pointed at Song Tai and said stutteringly. David instantly understood that Wudong thought he was saving Song Tai to sleep with her. "What are you thinking about all day long? Find a bottle of ice water." David looked at Wudong, speechless for a while. Soon, Wudong found a bottle of ice water, and David poured it directly into Song Tai. With a bottle of ice water in his stomach, Song Tai opened his eyes leisurely. "What?" With a sudden scream, Song Tai sat up abruptly. Looking at the surrounding environment is a hotel. Looking at David and Wudong, Song Tai's face turned pale. "Who are you? What do you want to do to me? I tell you, even if I die, I won't let you succeed. If my dad finds out, he will definitely kill you." Song Tai glared at David and Wudong and said, "Miss Song, you misunderstood, Wudong wanted to explain. "What did I misunderstand? You took me to the hotel, didn't you do that dirty thing? Even if I die, I won't let you sully." Song Tai grabbed his collar tightly and yelled at Wudong. This time Wudong was speechless. At that time, he himself thought that David had rescued Song Tai and brought him to the hotel just to play with her. "Humph, is there nothing to say? I've known for a long time that you stinky men don't want my body." Song Tai gritted his teeth and said. "Are you finished?" David frowned slightly and asked Song Tai. "What do you mean?" Song Tai looked at David and asked. "It's over, you can go." David pointed to the door and said expressionlessly. Song Tai was taken aback, and looked at David in surprise. You really let me go?" "The door is open, no one is stopping you," David said. Song Tai looked at David, then at Wudong, and finally got off the bed slowly and walked to the door. Seeing that neither David nor Wudong were moving, Song Tai hurried out of the door. Seeing that Song Tai was running faster than the rabbit, David smiled lightly and said to Wudong, "Let's rest early today, we'll go up the mountain tomorrow to see." Wudong nodded and went back to his room to rest. At this time, in the place where the car accident had just happened, dozens of people had already surrounded the entire accident site, and one of the middle-aged men with a gloomy face looked at the Bentley that had been wrecked. This person is Song Zud, Song Tai's father. When he brought people over, Song Tai had long since disappeared. Master, the eldest miss is missing, all 4 bodyguards are dead, not a single shot was fired. The housekeeper walked over to Song Zud and reported in a low voice. What are the identities of those people, have you found out? Song Zud asked, pointing to the corpses of the people whose throats were cut by David. No, but it is certain that these people are the ones who stopped the eldest lady's car, and they also killed the eldest lady's bodyguard. The machete left at the scene matches the wound on the bodyguard's body. The butler shook his head. Speaking of which, is there another group of people who stole my daughter? Song Zud's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a murderous look in his eyes. It should be, and this group of people is very strong, at least they are masters. The wounds on the necks of these guys are the same, and the depth and length are not bad. It can be judged that it was done by one person, and it was still in a very short period of time. These people killed. The butler analyzed. The mantis catching the cicada oriole is behind, these guys are going to get serious with me. Song Zud gritted his teeth rattled. Master, do you suspect that the Feng family and the Lu family did it? The housekeeper asked. Humph, except for the 2 of them, in the entire mountain city, whoever dares to attack my daughter's idea, you immediately send someone to inquire about the news. I believe that they have captured my daughter and will make conditions with me soon. Song Zud was filled with murderous aura, and his eyes were terrifyingly cold. Master, the eldest miss is home, he is home. At this time, a servant of the Song family hurriedly ran and said. What? Song Zud was overjoyed and rushed home immediately. When he got home, he saw Song Tai sitting in the living room, surrounded by many people, asking questions. Daughter, are you okay? Song Zud looked at Song Tai and asked incredulously. It's okay. Song Tai shook his head. How did you get back? Didn't someone rob you? Song Zud asked Song Tai with a confused look on his face at the moment. Someone robbed me. After killing the bodyguard, he stunned me. When I woke up, I found myself in the hotel with 2 young people beside me. Song Tai said truthfully. Then they didn't treat you well. Hearing this, Song Zud raised his heart in his throat. Song Tai continued to shake his head. After I woke up, I thought they wanted to do something to me, but those 2 didn't do anything and let me go. Master, is it possible that these 2 people are the ones who killed and kidnapped the young lady? In their view, they did not kidnap the young lady, but saved the young lady, or they would not let the young lady come back. The butler analyzed from the side. Well, it's very possible. If these 2 people really saved my daughter, I'll be rewarded. Song Zud nodded, then turned to Song Taidao. Do you know where those 2 people are? I only know that at the Exley Hotel, I forgot the exact room number. I was so panicked at the time that I didn't even look at it. Song Tai said. Miss, tell me what the 2 of them look like, and I'll bring someone to find them. The housekeeper asked Song Tai. I can't remember, I was scared to death at that time, but I'm sure I know it when I see it, I'll take you to find it. Song Tai got up and said. How can this work? You just got out of danger, you can't go. Song Zud immediately stopped Song Tai. Dad, the housekeeper will take someone with me. What are you afraid of? Don't worry. Song Tai didn't care. Master, don't worry, I will take good care of the young lady. The butler guarantees. With the assurance of the housekeeper, Song Zud nodded in agreement, and then Song Tai took hundreds of Song family members and went directly to the Exley Hotel. After searching layer by layer, and finally on the 4th floor, Song Tai remembered the room he was staying in. It's this one. Song Tai pointed to the room and said. The housekeeper winked, and someone stepped forward immediately and kicked the door open with a bang. Because it is still uncertain whether these two people really saved Song Tai, or if they have any intentions, so we must control it first. The door was kicked open, and the two of them rushed in first, but as soon as they rushed in, they all flew out and fell heavily on the ground. David had already noticed the difference and kept hiding behind the door. As soon as the two Song family members rushed in, David started it. It's him, it's him. Song Tai immediately shouted when he saw David. And David frowned, I saved your life, but you brought people to avenge you. Song Tai opened his mouth, but didn't know how to refute it. Because David did not embarrass her and let her leave easily, Song Tai didn't know if it was him who was saved by David. However, the butler responded quickly and immediately smiled, Don't get me wrong, little brother, the eldest lady brought us here, just to meet you and ask about the situation. If you really saved the eldest lady, our master will reward you. What's the matter? Wu Dong, who heard the movement at this time, also rushed out. When he saw so many people, he was shocked, but after seeing Song Tai and the housekeeper beside him, he immediately understood. Over here. Butler Lu, don't get me wrong, Miss Song was really saved by us. At this time, Wu Dong hurriedly followed the housekeeper and said. Wu Dong often deals with rough stones, so he also has business dealings with the Song family and knows this housekeeper Lu. Master Wu, it's you. Butler Lu was a little surprised when he saw Wu Dong. Yes, I took Chen. Wu Dong just wanted to call Mr. Chen, but saw David wink at him, and immediately changed his words. My friend and I came to collect some rough stones, just happened to meet Miss Song in danger halfway. So we came to the rescue, because Miss Song was still in a coma at the time, we had to take her to the hotel first and let her wake up before leaving. Young Master Wu, I naturally believe it. Thank you very much. Our master wants to see you, and he said that he is rewarded. Butler Lu said to Wu Dong. How could Wu Dong be in charge? He could only secretly look at David, and when he saw David nodded, he smiled and said, I just want to meet President Song and discuss the matter of the original stone. Master Wu, please. Butler Lu made a gesture of invitation. Wu Dong and David went to the Song family with the Song family. Song Zud was still waiting in the hall. Seeing Song Tai coming back, he got up and asked, Daughter, have you found those two people? That's not it, the two of them. Song Tai pointed at Wu Dong and David said. Master Wu. Song Zud said with a surprised look after seeing Wu Dong. Mr. Song. Wu Dong smiled slightly. Did you save my daughter? Song Zud's face was full of disbelief. Exactly, we saw that Miss Song was dazed and stuffed into the car, so we rescued Miss Song. Wu Dong nodded. Song Zud frowned slightly, Master Wu, if I remember correctly, you don't seem to be skilled in martial arts, right? Wu Dong smiled awkwardly, yes, I don't know martial arts. It was my friend who saved Miss Song, and he did it. Wu Dong pointed at David and said. Song Zud looked at David, his face was full of disbelief. Those robbers were masters at first sight. If they could cut their throats and kill them instantly, they must be masters. They should be masters, but David in front of him was only in his 20s. How could it be a master? Little brother, what's your surname? Although he had doubts in his heart, Song Zud asked politely. David. David replied lightly. It turned out to be Brother David. Since you saved my daughter, you can say whatever you want. If you buy rough stones, I can give you half the price. Song Zud said generously. After all, when Song Tai was finally released, it was Wu Dong and David who he saw. No matter if they were helping each other out, they didn't have bad intentions for their daughter. Half price. Wu Dong got excited when he heard it. If they buy the rough at half price, they can make a lot of money, which is a lot of money.